There is a reason some people feel untouchable. They walk through chaos without panic. They face pressure without flinching. Criticism doesn't bend them. Fear doesn't control them. From the outside, it looks like confidence, or talent, or luck. But that explanation is comforting and wrong. Because if it were luck, this strength would be rare, unreachable. The truth is harsher. This kind of strength is trained, slowly, brutally, deliberately. And no one understood this better than Miyamoto Musashi, a man who fought more than 60 duels, a man who never lost, not once. People focus on his sword, his technique, his strategy. That's a mistake. Musashi was not unstoppable because of how he fought. He was unstoppable because of how his mind was forged. Today, you're going to learn the ancient Japanese discipline that made that possible. Not motivation, not positive thinking, not confidence tricks. A system so demanding that most people quit before it changes them. A discipline that doesn't make you feel strong. It removes the parts of you that are weak. This is stillness and direction. This channel is about inner structure, not hype, about systems that hold when life applies pressure. If you're tired of breaking under stress, subscribe. And if you're ready to hear something uncomfortable but true, like the video now, not for the algorithm, but as a commitment to yourself. Now listen carefully. Most people think mental strength comes from avoiding discomfort, from protecting peace, from staying safe. The Japanese believed the opposite. They believed peace is earned after you stop running. Musashi lived by a discipline that rejected comfort completely, not because suffering was noble, but because comfort makes the mind soft. Fear does not disappear when you avoid it, it grows. Pressure does not weaken when you hide from it, it accumulates. Musashi understood this early. As a teenager, he lived alone in the mountains. No praise, no guidance, no protection. Cold, hunger, isolation. Not accidentally, deliberately. Because he knew something most people never accept. You cannot build an unshakable mind in a comfortable life. The Japanese had a word for the state Musashi cultivated, fudoshin, the immovable mind. A mind that feels fear without obeying it. A mind that experiences pain without collapsing. A mind that stays centered while everything around it moves. This discipline is not inspiring, it is confrontational. It forces you to face exactly what you avoid. And that's why it breaks almost everyone who tries it. In the next section, you'll understand what this discipline actually demands, why exposure, not protection, is the foundation of strength, and how Musashi trained his mind to remain calm when death was real and close. Musashi did not train the way most people imagine. He did not wait to feel ready. He did not practice only when conditions were perfect. He did not protect himself from fear. He went directly toward it. The discipline that shaped him was built on deliberate exposure. Where others avoided discomfort, Musashi sought it out. Cold mornings, hunger, exhaustion, uncertainty. Not as punishment, as training. Because the Japanese understood something brutal and precise. The mind does not become calm by avoiding chaos. It becomes calm by surviving it repeatedly. Every duel Musashi fought was real. No rules, no protection. One mistake meant death. And yet witnesses described the same thing again and again. He looked relaxed, almost indifferent. Not because he lacked fear, but because fear no longer controlled him. This is the core of the discipline most people misunderstand. You do not remove fear by thinking differently. You remove fear by teaching the nervous system that fear is survivable. Musashi trained this daily. He practiced sword forms while exhausted. He meditated while hungry. He walked long distances alone, without shelter. These were not romantic rituals. They were neurological training. Each time he stayed present under discomfort, his mind learned a new rule. This sensation will not kill me. And over time, fear lost its authority. This is what the Japanese called shugyo, austere training. Not to become tough, but to become stable. Modern people avoid this idea because it sounds extreme, but the alternative is worse. A mind that has never been tested collapses the moment pressure becomes real. Musashi did not wait for life to test him. He tested himself first. That is why, in battle, nothing felt unfamiliar. The stress was already known. The chaos already rehearsed. This is the uncomfortable truth. Calm is not a personality trait. It is a trained response. And training requires exposure. In the next section, you'll see how Musashi used solitude and silence as weapons, why removing distraction was as important as physical hardship, and how stillness itself became part of his discipline. Musashi understood something that modern life makes almost impossible to see. Noise weakens the mind. Not loud noise, mental noise. Constant input, opinions, distraction, validation. He saw early that a mind filled with voices cannot remain steady in moments that matter. So he chose solitude, not as escape, as discipline. Musashi spent long periods completely alone. No conversations, no entertainment, no reassurance, just silence. This was not loneliness, it was training, because silence does something brutal to the mind. It removes distraction and forces you to face yourself. Every fear you avoid surfaces. Every insecurity you bury speaks. Every weakness becomes audible. Most people run from this. They fill silence with noise because the mind without distraction feels uncomfortable. Musashi stayed. He allowed boredom, restlessness, doubt. And by staying present through them, he weakened their power. This is how stillness becomes strength. The Japanese believed that a distracted mind is a fragile mind, and Musashi lived accordingly. He removed excess speech. He avoided crowds. He rejected praise. Not because he hated people, but because attention scatters focus. In silence, attention returns inward, and inward focus sharpens perception. This is why Musashi could read opponents before they moved. Not magically, but because his mind was quiet enough to notice small shifts. Tension in the shoulders, breath changes, hesitation in the eyes. A noisy mind misses these things. A still mind catches them instantly. This discipline was not about meditation alone. It was about simplicity. Musashi lived with very little, few possessions, no luxury, because desire creates attachment, and attachment creates fear of loss. A mind afraid of losing comfort cannot act freely. By removing excess, Musashi removed leverage from the world. Nothing external could threaten his balance because nothing external controlled it. This is the discipline most people avoid. Not hardship, but emptiness, because emptiness removes excuses. You cannot blame distraction when there is none. You cannot hide behind stimulation when there is silence. And that is why solitude breaks most people. In the next section, you'll learn how Musashi trained under real pressure without emotional attachment, why he never rushed into battle, and how patience became one of his most dangerous weapons. Musashi never rushed. This is one of the most misunderstood parts of his discipline. People assume aggression wins fights, speed, force, intensity. Musashi rejected this thinking completely. He trained himself to wait, not passively, precisely. In his duels, he often arrived late on purpose, not as arrogance, as strategy. Because he understood something most people never do. Impatience reveals weakness. When someone rushes, they are trying to escape discomfort. They want the moment to be over. They want certainty. Musashi stayed inside uncertainty. By arriving late, he unsettled his opponents before the fight even began. They waited. Their minds raced. Their emotions rose. By the time Musashi appeared, they were already off balance. This was not psychological tricks. It was discipline. He trained patience until it became natural. Patience is not waiting calmly. It is holding tension without reacting. Most people cannot do this. When pressure builds, they act too early, speak too much, make mistakes. Musashi trained himself to do the opposite. He slowed down when others sped up. He stayed still when others panicked. This is part of Fudoshin, the immovable mind. A mind that does not chase outcomes. A mind that does not need control. This discipline extended beyond combat. Musashi refused to cling to plans. He adopted without emotion. If conditions changed, he did not resist them. Resistance wastes energy. Acceptance redirects it. This is why Musashi never fought the same way twice, not because he was creative, but because he was unattached. Attachment narrows perception. Detachment expands it. He did not fight to prove himself. He fought to finish. No pride, no ego, just clarity. This is the kind of discipline that feels cold to outsiders, emotionless, detached. But it is not emptiness. It is control. When emotion no longer drives action, action becomes precise. This is why Musashi remained calm when death was possible. He had already let go of outcomes. Winning did not excite him. Losing did not terrify him, because his discipline was not dependent on results. In the next section, you'll see the final layer of Musashi's discipline, why he lived without belonging anywhere, and how detachment from identity itself made him truly unstoppable. Musashi belonged nowhere, and that was intentional. He did not attach himself to clans. He did not settle into positions. He did not build an identity that could be taken from him. This was not loneliness. It was strategy. Because the Japanese understood something dangerous. The moment you cling to an identity, you become predictable. A man who must protect a title fights differently. A man who must defend a reputation hesitates. A man who fears losing status cannot act freely. Musashi removed this weakness completely. He lived as a wanderer. No permanent home, no rank to protect, no role to perform. This terrified people, because most people build their sense of self on what they own, what they are called, where they belong. Musashi rejected all of it. This is why defeat could not break him, and victory could not corrupt him. Nothing external to find him. This discipline is harder than physical hardship, because physical hardship ends. Identity attachment does not. Most people cannot imagine life without labels, without validation, without a fixed place. Musashi trained himself to let go of all three. That is why he could walk into any duel with nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, fear has no leverage. This is the final trap most people fall into. They want strength while clinging to comfort. They want courage while protecting image. They want calm while demanding certainty. Musashi chose differently. He accepted instability so his mind could remain stable. He accepted isolation so his actions could remain pure. He accepted uncertainty so hesitation would never control him. This is why his discipline breaks most people. Not because it is painful, but because it strips away identity comforts one layer at a time. And when those layers are gone, only action remains. In the final section, you'll see what Musashi's discipline really teaches us today, why modern life makes this discipline harder but more necessary than ever, and how to apply its core principles without abandoning your life entirely. Musashi's discipline was never meant to stay in the past. It was not built for swords alone. It was built for pressure. And pressure still exists today. It has only changed its shape. Deadlines instead of duels, uncertainty instead of enemies, mental overload instead of physical danger. But the human nervous system is the same, which means the lesson is the same. You don't become unshakable by protecting yourself from stress. You become unshakable by training inside it. Musashi did not wait for confidence. He acted until confidence became irrelevant. He did not try to feel calm. He lived in conditions that forced calm to emerge. This is the part most people avoid. They want peace without confrontation, stability without exposure, strength without sacrifice. Musashi's discipline offers none of that. What it offers instead is something rarer: reliability. A mind that does not collapse when plans fail, a body that moves even when emotion hesitates, and identity that does not depend on praise, certainty, or comfort. You don't need to live in the mountains. You don't need to abandon society. But you do need to stop running. You need controlled exposure to discomfort, silence without distraction, moments where you choose patience instead of reaction. Not once, repeatedly. This is how Fudosan is built. Not by pretending fear doesn't exist, but by proving again and again that fear does not control you. Musashi was never unstoppable because he never felt doubt. He was unstoppable because doubt had no authority over his actions. That is the real discipline, and it is available to anyone willing to endure the discomfort of becoming solid. Most people will never choose this path because it does not reward quickly, it does not feel good at first, and it offers no applause. But for those who stay, something irreversible happens. Pressure stops feeling personal, chaos stops feeling threatening, and action becomes simple. This is not motivation. This is conditioning. This is not confidence. This is structure. This is stillness and direction. And this is why Miyamoto Musashi never lost, not because he was fearless, but because he trained a mind that nothing could move.